Hey boys and girls, it's Chris Eads, known online as Wootini, here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. This week, as I am recording this even, my friends are all at Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con. Not all, obviously, but a lot of my friends are at New York Comic-Con right now. And I am not. I did not go this year. And it's funny because I see their pictures on Facebook and Instagram, and it makes me wish that I was there, because it's so cool, and all the costumes and stuff, and the comics, and the video games, and everything. And I'm like, oh, I wish I was there. But then I remember the crowds, and the lines, and how last year when I went, I didn't really feel like it was worth it, exactly. So I was like, so it's okay. I don't mind so much that I'm not there. Because I miss my press badge. Because when I was working for gaygamer.net, sniff, I was able to attend E3, PAX East. I could have gone to PAX Prime. I could have gotten a media badge to PAX Prime as well, but I just didn't do that one because I would have had to fly myself out to Seattle and put myself up in a hotel. It would have just been too expensive. E3 I went for a few years because the site paid for my airfare and hotel, so that was cool. For PAX East, it was a cheap bus ride to Boston, so that's not as bad as a plane. So I was willing to shell out for the bus and the hotel for PAX East, but I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner, because I could have gone to more New York Comic-Cons if I'd thought of it sooner, but it suddenly occurred to me after going to these other cons, I was like, oh, New York Comic-Con's coming up. It's not about comics, there's lots of movies and TV and video games, I could totally get a press badge, I'm sure. And I did. And so I went to New York Comic-Con for a bunch of years, and that's the way to do it. Because when you have a press badge, you can just walk right in. There's no waiting in the long line to get in with the regular folk. When you have a press badge, you just stroll right in, and you could even get in early, and, you know, completely beat the crowds. And then I would also have, like, special appointments, like, oh, okay, I have an appointment to go to the place where Square Enix is showing off their games, and I can try playing the new Tomb Raider and stuff like that, you know. Like, that was great. Or, like, at a booth, I would go to, like, the Capcom booth, and they'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, come on, we'll just bump you in here, and you can play the new Street Fighter or the new Resident Evil or whatever. And I would feel a little bbit bad about cutting the line, but whatever, it's fine. I didn't take that long, especially with something like Street Fighter. I'm like, nope, this sucks, get me out of here. I'm so bad at it. But, like, it was great, because you could, like, avoid lines. You could also go to panels sometimes, that you could RSVP for a panel. Like, Capcom's like, hey, do you want to come to this panel? I'm like, sure. Put my name down. And then I don't have to stand in line for an hour, I just show up and go in. I got so spoiled. Like, that's the best way to do a con. So last year, when I actually paid, I bought a ticket for Friday and Saturday, and they're like $50 a day. And, I also went last year because I had my cool cosplay that I wanted to do when I was doing Power Boy, so I wanted to show that off. So I went, and it was great. I walked around and got my picture taken. I bought a bunch of crap that I didn't need, except for some things I did need. I needed a new messenger bag, and they had the Neon Genesis Evangelion one that I wanted, so score for that. That was a legit need. Everything else is just garbage that I just wanted, because it looked awesome. But I feel like I don't fully experience the con, because you're basically spending money to go and stand in line for things. You stand in line to meet people, celebrities. You stand in line to play demos of games. You stand in line for the bathroom sometimes. You stand in line for panels. And it's like, you're standing in line for anywhere from 20 minutes to like an hour and a half. I remember going to get in line for a Zelda retrospective panel one year, and like me and my friends were like, oh, let's go. It's about, you know, I don't remember exactly when we went to get in line, but I feel like it was about an hour or so, because we were like, let's go and get in line now. And we got there, and they were like, oh yeah, they actually cut the line off up there. We're just standing in line in case people get out of line or they let us in anyway. We're like the standby or people or whatever. So, and I was just like, I am not waiting in line for an hour to then not get into the panel because it's full. Like, that's absurd. Then you're really wasting an hour of your day at the con, you know? So that's why I hated standing in line for things. So I would hardly ever go to panels because I'm not standing in line for an hour and a half to get into a panel, because that's an hour and a half that I could be going around and walking through Artist Alley, and I could be looking at merch, and I could be, like, you know, whatever. Like, doing things instead of just standing in line. So I was just like, you know what, I'm fine. Like, if I had a really cool cosplay idea and I'd put together a really cool costume, then I would definitely buy a ticket so I could show it off. But, maybe next year? I don't know. I'm good this year. I'm fine. Oh, I also went to see, I went to the movies again. Blade Runner 2049 opened. And, I liked it. It was good. Crazy long. It's like 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I'm like, you know, could have picked up the pace a little. It was very leisurely, you know. I never got, like, bored exactly, but it did feel long. Like, you're just like, okay, this is taking a while to get where it's going. But I did like it. It's very much like the first one. Very stylish, great soundtrack, but, like, I think it's, like, the nature of Blade Runner is that the world is so, like, cold and distant and off-putting that I was never able to get into Blade Runner. People are like, oh, Blade Runner, it's a classic. And I'm like, you know, I recently rewatched it before I saw this one. I watched it a few weeks ago, you know, to remind myself of it. And I was rewatching it, and I'm like, I'm either going to be like, yeah, nope, this is why I don't own it on Blu-ray, or I'll be like, oh my god, why don't I own this? This is amazing. I love it. I was just like, and I was like, yeah, no, it's the same response. It's like, I look at it, and I can say, yes, this is a good movie, but it does nothing for me, if that makes any sense. If anything, this sequel, 2049, has a bit more of an emotional core than the first one. The first one's very cold. This one has a little bit more feeling to it, so you almost get emotionally invested in the characters, but not quite. I will say it's probably my favorite movie that I have seen Ryan Gosling in, because I do not like him. And I was actually super disappointed because I work in an office that's in Times Square, and the Warner Brothers billboard is, like, directly outside of our office windows. So I remember walking into the office one morning and looking out and seeing Blade Runner and seeing Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling and being like, oh crap, it's Ryan Gosling? Like, I don't know who I thought it was, but I didn't think it was Ryan Gosling, so I was sort of annoyed that he was the actor that's starring in this movie, but I actually didn't mind him this time. So that's a glowing review. But if you like dark science fiction, then definitely check it out. Just make sure that you empty your bladder fully before entering the theater. That's all. As far as gaming goes, I told you last time that I was going to try a new game, and I did. I played Riggs, which was free with PlayStation Plus last month. I don't know if it's still available. I don't believe it is anymore. It was weird, though, because I remember, like, hearing, oh, Riggs is available for free if you have PlayStation Plus. So I go into the PlayStation Plus section, but it wasn't listed as one of the free games that you could download with PlayStation Plus. I actually just searched for Riggs, and then it was free. Like, they weren't really highly promoting it with the other PlayStation Plus games, which is weird. But I guess if you had a VR headset and you knew that Riggs was free, you would just go find it. I just feel like I shouldn't have had to search to find it, but whatever. So I downloaded Rigs, and then I didn't play it for like a week or so because I was just like, and of course No Man's Sky. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to make myself play a new game this week so that I can talk about it on the podcast, and here we go. And I'm so sorry. I played it. I was warned on Twitter that the beginning is basically a listening simulator. And the tutorial is like, I feel like the tutorial is like about an hour. And it is a lot of listening. There's this guy, and he's talking at you the whole time, explaining the world, the concepts, the controls, the gameplay, everything. And he's like, okay, how about this? And then you try that. And he's like, okay, now I'm going to show you this. And then you try that. And it was like well over an hour before I actually played a proper match. Like, but the thing is that it's kind of necessary because there's a lot. Like there's different kinds of mechs, and then you have to learn the controls, and the controls are really complicated, and you have to test them out in the test arena so that you can get to learn them. And then once I'd learned the controls, I'm like, okay, we're good. And then, you know, I picked a mech, then I had to pick a team, then I had to pick some teammates, then I could finally play my very first match. Not an online match, I played an offline match. Because Lord knows, I was like, I'm not diving right into... Also, the game tutorial doesn't let you dive right into online. You can do that after you've played a proper match, then you can go online. But, I will never go online with this game. In fact, I don't know if I'm going to play it anymore, because it was so hard. This is the... And I was reminded, I'm like, this is why I don't play mech games. Because mech games have crazy, complicated controls. There was that one mech game... I forget what it was called now, Heavy something. But, like, it came with a frickin' giant, it was like $100 or $150, and it came in, like, this giant frickin' console with all these levers and switches and buttons on it to control your mech, and I'm just like, this is unnecessary. And in VR, like, it's great. Graphics are terrific, you're in this arena, it's very real, it's very amazing. I went to play my first round, and I thought, normally games, like, you have your tutorial, then they put you into the game, and it's very easy, and you can, like, learn the controls, and it gets more and more difficult as you go on. This one had the tutorial, and then it put me in the match, and it was, like, up here all of a sudden. And I was just like, no. So, like, I thought, you know, oh, you know, you're supposed to attack the other team, and you attack their mech, and you basically do enough damage to have that player ejected from their mech. And then they have to get back in their mech and go back and start over and play some more. So you get ejected, you go back in, and you play some more, and then you get ejected, and then you jump back in, and whoever ejects the most players on the opposing team wins the game. We're running around, and me and my two AI teammates, I thought, it might be a little close, and we'll just barely eke out a victory because I'm a little not good at this. We got our asses kicked. It was like 45-8. It was terrible. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, this did not ease me into the game. Like, this just dropped me in and was like, now go. And it made it super duper hard. And I was just like, no. Because not only are you, like, running around and moving and then trying to shoot them, and the best technique I found was to shoot at them and go in close and then use a melee attack to knock them out. That's usually the best way I found to get in there. But like, I'm being attacked from behind, and I'm like trying to turn around, and I'm just like, ah. And it was just not, it was not fun. I was not good at it, because also, in addition to just the running around, the shooting, I also had a problem because the melee was you press the R3 button, the right stick, you press that down, and that does the melee attack. But I kept, because the shooting is the triggers, left and right, I kept wanting to use the R1 as a melee button, but that dodges to the right, and L1 dodges to the left. And so I would be, like, moving in to do my melee attack, and then I would accidentally dodge to the right, and I'm like, fuck. And then I would try to turn, but then I would get ejected, because I would get hit. So, it did not work. I was very bad at it, and, oh, I forgot, also, while you're doing all of that, there's also 3 modes. There's a power mode, where your hits do, and bullets do more damage. Then there's a speed mode where you move faster. Then there's a repair mode where if you can get away, you can go into repair mode while you're moving around and going in for another attack on somebody, and it'll help repair your thing so you won't get ejected as quickly. And you can toggle between those 3 modes as you're moving around. And I was like, dude, I've got enough to worry about with all of these people attacking me and trying to attack them. Like, I can't be worrying about switching between speed and power. I mean, forget repair, because I'm getting ejected so quickly that there's no way I'm going to even think about going into repair mode. So, I was just like, this is too much. It's overwhelming. And not because of the VR-ness of it all. The VR was the best part. The controls are way too complicated, and I was like, this is not fun. So, I don't think I'm going to go back to it. Sadly. But it did get me away from No Man's Sky. So that was nice. Take a little break. I did try to play a little No Man's Sky, actually, the other night, and found that there was a update, and I thought, crap. Because also it was like a 4 gig update, so that was going to take a while to download. It wasn't like a little one that I could be like, alright, just download, I'll go pee and come back. It was a big one, so I was like, ugh. So, I ended up playing some more Infamous while that downloaded, because it was there, and I'm like, let me try playing Infamous again. And it was still fun. I was like, okay, yay, this is fun. I'm like enjoying this. This is okay. I have to say I sort of missed the grinding on the when you had the electrical powers in the other game, you could like grind on the power lines, and that was a really fun way to just get around town real easy. This doesn't have that, and I kind of missed that. But no, it was great. I did a couple of missions, and kicked some ass, and it was quite fun. I accidentally killed a bunch of civilians, because there was like this big armored tank, and I was like, boom, and I blew it up, and it was really awesome. And I got like this achievement, because I blew up a bunch of cars all at once. But then I also noticed, when I was sharing my achievement to Twitter, I was sharing the picture to Twitter being like, whoops, you know, because I noticed, I was like, oh, I killed some civilians. My bad. So I'm trying to play as a hero, but then I accidentally killed a bunch of people, so I'm like, oh well. But it's really fun. There was also a great scene. I did a mission where I had to climb the Space Needle to destroy the surveillance equipment that they've built onto the Space Needle. So that was really fun, climbing up that, because I am super afraid of heights, and it's like, it made me be like, thank goodness this wasn't in VR, because I would have had serious vertigo trying to do this scene in VR. It was great. I do wish there was a little more customization to the character. Obviously, you can't customize his physical features because it's a plot point that he's Native American, so you know, you couldn't have a blonde, blue-eyed guy. I get that, but all I've been able to do so far is change the emblem on the back of his jacket, which doesn't really do anything. What I really want to do is get rid of that beanie, because he looks like he might almost be cute if it weren't for that stupid beanie. It just makes him look greasy and nasty. It's very hipstery, I don't care for it. I'm not into the beanies. I will say one thing, though. I played Infamous while the update to No Man's Sky was downloading, so I can now go back and play No Man's Sky and check out this update. I know they added a new save system. We'll see what else they did. But there was one other good thing with the recent update to PlayStation 4. It's like version 5. It did that one thing that I am very happy about, where you can set notifications to not pop up while you're watching a movie, because that was super annoying when it was like, I'm like watching a Blu-ray and suddenly it's like, hey, this update finished downloading, or hey, this friend is online, or somebody sent you a message, or whatever. So you can turn that off when you're watching media, which is super awesome. But the one thing, because when I went to play Rigs, it was like, sorry, you have to also update the VR headset. And I'm like, ugh. Luckily that didn't take that long. But whether it was an update to the PlayStation 4 or an update to the VR system, whatever they did, it fixed the problem that I've been having for months and months and months, all year, where when I would put my PlayStation into rest mode, the VR power system that sits next to it, that would never turn off. I would put the PlayStation to rest and it would go to sleep. This stayed on, and the fan kept going and the light was on, and I'm just like, what the hell? So I had to turn off internet connectivity in order to get that to go off with the PlayStation. But now, when they update, because every update I test it to see. And this time I tested it and I said, okay, turn on internet connectivity so it can download updates and stuff at night, and whenever it's off, it'll just automatically be downloading things, and that is much faster and easier and more convenient. It's always connected to the internet. And I put my PlayStation to sleep, and thank the gods, the VR power system also went to sleep. It turned off. So I was like, yay! So I have background downloading back, so I'm very excited about that. That made this system update totally worth it for me, anyway. So, okay, I have rambled on way too long this week, and I apologize for that. And hopefully next week I won't have very much to talk about, and it could be a nice short one for you. I will see you then. Bye!